Good morning. Welcome to the fifth Sunday. We're talking about diversity and inclusion all month here, and it's been a really good topic. It's been a really good topic for me, a growth experience for me as a minister, because I had to get guidance from my good friends on how that I learned in diversity school, man, of power and privilege and unearned power and privilege, could speak to this topic and speak to it humbly. But it's a great topic. And as I say here, I think we have great principles and practices that we teach here. We teach those principles and practices because we really believe following those principles will help us all lead a better life. And what we are drawn back to with these topics is the concept of oneness. It's at the foundation of our spirit, of our teaching. That spirit or God or life or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, is this divine intelligence. And from this divine intelligence and presence, we become us. And so we're all that divine intelligence put together in our own special and unique way. And that creation that happens, the divine wants us to seek out and communicate with each other and express that wonderful, wonderful power of who we are and who the people we come in contact with are. And it's an interesting time, isn't it? My friend and colleague, Dr. David Alexander, we say his prayer at the end of every service. And he's very much into this pushing the path forward of diversity. He says it's a time where we're sort of clashing a little bit. And we felt that here yesterday, actually. So Reverend Nicole was in a protest march, and there was a man on the sidelines who was going to do violence to a man beside her. And being the great protector and challenger Reverend Nicole was, she stepped in front of the man and actually got hit on the face. But thank you, Reverend Nicole, for being the person you are. Thank you for being the challenger. Thank you for being the supporter. Thank you for always, always standing up. So this is what I think is a paradigm that's going on with us. It's a shift in the way of being. And for me, it's a natural way. But to understand this concept of diversity and oneness and inclusion, let me read to you from what Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of the Science of Mind philosophy, said about this. This was a seminar on inclusion done in the 50s. He said this: looking at things from the belief that they are separate from the divine presence is like looking at things through dark glasses. While viewing all things as acts and manifestations of the divine presence is to view them as they really are and have them giving back to us as though God himself had personally brought them to us. That's the essence of looking at diversity. That's the essence of seeing the world as it really is. And going back many years before Dr. Holmes made his talk, we got the same lesson from the great book or lesson from the Bhagavad Gita. And this was a lesson when the great warrior Arjuna was wandering around the battlefield of all battlefields with the presence of Lord Krishna, the god Krishna, who was representing the entire Hindu godhead during that expression. And Arjuna was concerned about who did he fight? What about this people? What about that people? And Krishna explains to himself, myself is that which supports all beings and constitutes their existence. I am the self which abides with all beings. So it's that same general presence that we all come from the one. The Hindu states that is consciousness is the ground of all being. The Hindu also states it is that the one manifests as the many. So that's that essence inside of ourselves. So how do we open up to this? Because it's not like we see everyone the same, because oneness does not mean sameness. Unity does not mean uniformity. See, we have to hear this symphony that's playing. And this symphony means the sound together, not the individual instruments. It's the sound together. And Ralph Waldo Emerson would tell us to go out in nature and experience whatever you have, whether it's a clod of dirt that's been rained upon. Experience that greatness and experience the diversity. Stop seeing things as the same, or stop being afraid to look at things that are different, because that's what diversity is. And that's what Spirit gave us our eyes for, to experience the fullness of the world as it is. It's a powerful, powerful place for us to be. And one of my favorite sayings of Ernest Holmes is, God is always God, and we are always at choice. So when we're at ends, when we see these people with different ways of being at battle with one another, that's because they're not with their inner side. Because they could, and we're all that. So, we're always a choice, but a lot of choices in a way we don't even make. They come from our subconscious or our race consciousness as we speak here. They come from our parents telling us. They come from our schooling. They come from our community. Because at first, and I always speak of an evolution of consciousness, and I really think it explains a lot of things. At first, we had affinity groups. We got with people just like ourselves for protection, and I'm sure there was a time when that made sense. But now, the longer we go, as we evolve consciously, something happens to us. And as my longtime friend and mentor, I call him my friend, I never met him, was Wayne Dyer. He said, there's nothing as powerful as an idea whose time has come. And Reverend Dr. David Alexander says, yes, we're in this fever now of not getting along, of not seeing diversity and not blessing diversity, but that fever will break. And when that fever will break, it will be a wonderful spot for us to be. Because it's inside us. That way to view the world as divine, we've carried it inside of us from the moment we were created, and it will never, never go away. So I do want to quote my friend and colleague, Reverend Sunshine Day, how she guided me on how this white man of privilege could give a talk on diversity and inclusion in a humble and meaningful way. And once again, she says, well, Michael, all you have to do is understand your basic assumptions and things that come out with you that you don't even think about. And she says, when I'm working with someone, I tell them this. When you see me, if you don't see the color of my skin, you don't see the glory of beauty walking around in this brown skin, the look of my hair, the fullness of my lips, my hips. You don't see the God in me expressed as I am. So that's what diversity is. It's not seeing black and white, and it's not seeing the world judged by our appearances, as we so often do. It's getting in touch with that greatness inside of you that is absolutely divine. And seeing the world around, whether it's a blade of grass, whether it's a beautiful tulip, whether it's a weed, whether it's a bug that's really bothering you. And just go within and see the diversity without your preconceived judgments about it. And it's a great spiritual practice for us to all take in. And if you're struggling with that at all, just do like we always tell you, is set your spiritual practice, do it each day, and ask to see diversity from the eyes of spirit that are inside of you. And it's a beautiful day today, and let's just go out and experience that diversity and include everyone we come across. Thank you, and God bless you.